You say something. Welcome. And today we are going to be doing my February. No, we're not. Why is my life not working? Don't know what happened there. Let's just pretend it's all okay. Oh, why now? Why, battery? Why are you dying on me right now? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Lisa and today we are going to be doing my March end of month wrap up. This is going to include my overall stats and the last few books that I've read of the month. I try to each month do a mid-month and an end of month wrap up, so if you'd like to see my mid-month wrap up I will leave it linked up in the cards above or in the description below, whichever editing Lisa remembers to do. So in March I read 11 books in total, which is not bad. It was 17 in February and 18 in January, so it's better than it was in January. Why is it so crooked? Why is my life not working as it should right now? So, like I was saying, I read 11 books. 2 of them were contemporary, 7 were fantasy, 1 was a graphic novel, and 1 was a thriller. There were 7 mixed media and 4 physical. And then there were 2, so that breaks down into the age ranges, which were 2 adult, 4 middle grade and 5 YA. Yeah, at the moment I seem to be reading more middle grade, which I'm not mad at, obviously, as you can gonna be able to tell by my ratings in a minute. So in total, trying to get my total pages read. So in total I read 4,004 pages in March. I DNF'd 1 book. And for the life of me, I can't remember what that book was. Yes, I do. Moon's Prodigy. I DNF'd Moon's Prodigy. So I'm going to head over to Copilot and give you my ratings on the last few books that I read. So, this first book, well, first one is a graphic novel, and this is The Marked, and this is the first in a series. I think there's only 2 out so far, and it follows a group of people called The Marked, and it starts off with a girl called Saskia who believes she has entered into some kind of art competition, but actually it's not. It is a secret sort of society full of people with powers that are sort of derived from the marks that they create on themselves, which are called glyphs. And yeah, I can't really say too much without spoiling it, but the artwork in this is beautiful. Look at that, you know, artwork. It's not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that. Look at that one. I just think that it's so cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to picking up the next one of this and see where it heads. I gave this 4 stars. First graphic novel ever, I think, and I was not disappointed. Next up we have Law, and this one was a bit of an odd one. So it started off quite slow, the pacing was a bit strange. So this follows a girl called Law who has tried to stay out of the world of magic and stuff for the past few years, like for a few years prior to this happening. Okay, so I've just tried explaining this and I've explained it totally wrong. So basically Zeus effectively cursed the gods because he wasn't happy with how they were using their powers they were kind of doing things wrong, basically. He wasn't happy about it, so he cursed all the gods so that every 7 years they would walk the earth in mortal bodies, and people would then hunt them, and they would have 7 days to hunt them, and if they survived the 7 days they would then ascend again as a god out of a mortal body for the next 7 years, and they would, you know, keep the powers. If they were killed by somebody, then that mortal would then take their powers. So each god has like a house where people train within those houses, and obviously they then are faithful to that god, and then they would like hunt other gods. It's very confusing to start with, and basically this whole thing is called the Agon, and Law was trying to avoid being involved in anything like this. She'd hidden herself for 3 years until the goddess Athena is found bleeding out on her doorstep. She then has to make a decision whether or not she wants to get involved in the Agon again to save people that she cares about and to try and end this once and for all. And I have to say, character wise, I do enjoy Law. I do enjoy her. She's a good character. I love Miles. The main characters of the story are Law and Castor, Van and Miles, and obviously Goddess Athena is quite prevalent in the book. But the pace was a bit weird to start with. I don't know, it wasn't, I can understand why people can find it quite difficult to get into. I was worried about getting into this because there was a lot of people that didn't particularly like it, and they were saying it was difficult to read, it was difficult to get to, and I can understand why some people would think that. I think for me it was more interesting because I have recently really wanted to get into Greek mythology. This has made me want to pick up books more to learn more about the gods that are discussed in this. I have found, and I have mentioned this before, I have found that with fantasy I do have to listen audibly as well as read along with it, because there's words that my little brain cannot just, what's the word? I can't even speak now, let alone, because there's Poseidon, Athena, you know, there's words that are Greek. The names of the gods, it's just a lot for my little brain to take. So it's interesting to find out about, but I'm not up on my Greek mythology, and if I was just trying to read this, when I can't get words out and when I can't read words easily, it does slow my reading down. And I found that I have to do that with a lot of fantasy, which in a way kind of makes the experience better for me, because for me it helps me imagine them more in my head as well. So yeah, if you have ever picked this up and you've struggled to read it, would recommend picking up the audiobook to go along with this, because honestly it helped me. And this one, I think it got 4 stars. I think it got 4 stars. It did get 4 stars, so it got a 9 for characters, because I really did like the characters, and something happened in this book. I'm not going to obviously give spoilers, but what happened I didn't see coming. It did do something that I really dislike in books. However, I don't know. If you don't want spoilers, then just skip for the next 10 seconds. Okay, so it does a resurrection trope, which I'm really not happy with in some respects, because it's very convenient and it annoys me. But other than that particular thing that I dislike about that particular trope, I did really enjoy this book. So I give it a 9 for characters because I love the characters, 8 for atmosphere, 8 for writing, 8 for plot, 9 for intrigue because I was very intrigued the whole way through, 9 for logic, and 9 for enjoyment. So overall, very good book. Would recommend, but again, listen, audibly, cannot recommend it enough. You can download Libby, you can download BookBeat. I know BookBeat is more expensive, but it does have a wide range of books. You can download Scribd. You can, if you, I think Jade has a link for Scribd, and there's a couple of people that I follow that I subscribe to that are always linked in my description below, because they're the people that I've watched the most and that I would recommend the most. So there's a couple of them that have Scribd sort of like referral codes that get you like 2 months free, so you could try out Scribd. And there's also Audibles, but I would 100% recommend, especially with fantasy, if you struggle with piecing things together, then mixed media is the way to go. Next up, we had Truthwitch. So this follows a girl called Safi and her friend Isolde. So Safi is a truth witch, which means that she can tell the truth, but her powers aren't as great as you would think. So you find out, but she's deemed to be quite a sought after witch because people want to use her for political power. So obviously she would be a very good political pawn to play with. So she ends up going on the run with her friend Isolde, and this just follows them on their journey trying to avoid being captured. And along the way you meet some really fun, funky, fresh people. So along the way we meet Merrick, who is the admiral of a ship, who helps her on her journey. Not necessarily willingly so, but he does. And there's a few characters that we meet along the way that I really like, and I hope we get to see them again at some point in the next few books. We meet a blood witch in this, we meet wind witches in this, and we hear of but don't meet, I don't think, fire witches, and we hear of iron witches. So the next book after this is Wind Witch. We've also got Blood Witch out and Sight Witch. We also hear about Sight Witches. So I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm hoping at some point there are other books about the Fire Witches and the Iron Witches, but there is different witches as well as their main sort of magic, which is like hers as a Truth Witch, is also Thread Witch. You've got your Wind Witches. They do have other bits of magic that they can do as well. We've got healers. There's just so many witchy people in this book that I absolutely adore. And again, I 100% recommend you listen to this on audiobook along with reading it, because I tried to just read this and it wasn't just the names, it was just the first couple, like the first 100 pages I was struggling to get through and just read. Not just because I couldn't pronounce Isolde because it's spelled I-S-E-U-L-T, but it was just, at the beginning, the pacing is very much just building the world, building the characters. And for me, again, listen to it. I recommend it because there was a girl called Fran who is one of Jade's patrons who was saying that she was struggling to read it. She was so close to DNFing it. I sent her the audiobook and she's enjoying it a lot more now. So if you are struggling to get through this, please 100% recommend do not DNF. Just try and get through it and get the audiobook, because you will not regret it. And I cannot wait to get my hands on Wind Witch, because the end of this book was a thing. And yeah, finally we ended on a bad note for the month. I read The Secret, and I've read it over 2 days, and this follows a girl called Bridget who goes missing, and then you've got Imogen and her partner who are trying to find her, and then there are other secrets, obviously The Secret. There are secrets about Bridget that you find out throughout the book, and then there's also secrets that come out about Imogen, who is the detective who is supposed to be trying to find her. the plot is a bit weird, and the way that the book is paced is also very weird. It flicks between past and present, but not just one part of time in the past and one part of time in the present. So you've got the past, which is just listed like the past, and then you follow a boy at the age of 10 who talks to you in first person, and then you follow him for like 10, 12, 19, and obviously it's getting to a point to tell you who this boy is at the end, but that is like, you know, sometimes like some of the chapters between. Then you go back to the past, where you follow Imogen, but then you go back to the past, but then it's like 2 months later, 2 months after you've gone in the past. It's all very weird. So obviously it's following, it's going back, all the way back, and then back to the present to try and like merge the timelines and merge everything together, but I just don't think it's done very well. The girl who goes missing, you kind of don't give a crap about her because you don't find anything out about her other than the fact that at the beginning of the book she goes missing. Imogen, she's not really a likeable character in all fairness. Adrian is kind of likeable, her partner Adrian. There's a guy another guy called Sam. You don't get much page time. He's linked to Imogen and Imogen's past in some way. Not 100% sure why that was necessary. And then there's Dean. And then there's bad guys who you're like, is it him? Is it him? Did a friend really betray her? Or like 2 years ago. She's obviously, Imogen's got some issues that she's going through. She's got a mum that she's estranged from. It's a lot to unpack. It's a 400-page book, so it's not short, but the back and forth between the different timelines, it's just not it for me, sis. It's just not a good thing. I gave it 3 stars because I'm not saying it's not that I thought it was awful. It's not like, oh my god, I had to force myself to get through it. It was just okay, but there was so many things that I didn't like about it that I couldn't rate any more than a 3 star. I didn't want to rate it any lower than that because I didn't hate it. It was still a decent read, but I'm going to unhaul it because I'm not going to read that again. Don't need to read that again. I wouldn't even really say it's a thriller. Dear Amy, that's a thriller. This was just more like a mystery. It's deemed like a psychological thriller, I think. That's what it's listed as, but I wouldn't call it a psychological thriller at all. I would think it was like a whodunit mystery, but with a missing girl, rather than a whodunit as in who murdered him. So, yeah, 3 stars. I wasn't a fan. That was everything for the last part of February. Is it a bit of a mess? Yes, but if you have any good thriller recommendations and that are actually thrillers, then please just leave comments down below and let me know who you would recommend, whether it's authors or specific books, because I do want to read more thrillers. At the moment we're 50-50 with the thrillers that I've read so far. So yeah, if you do like my videos and you want to see more from me, please like, subscribe, leave comments down below, follow me on all my socials, and yeah, until next time, be kind, be happy, and stay true to you, and I will see you all very soon.